Hello, this is Taha.
This is Anaina,
This is Movie Masala.
and we're here to yap at you about films we watched recently.
And today we're doing.
Homebound, directed by Neeraj Ghaywan.
चंदन कहाँ जा रहे हो बे? बे रुको साले बिना मैच के लिए स्टेडियम छोड़ के भागोगे?
स्टेडियम भर के अभ्यर्थी नहीं दिख रहे तुमको? कोई चांस नहीं है, हम आरआरबी का एग्जाम दे देंगे।
अबे वहाँ भी उतनी मारामारी होगी।
बेकार ही भर दिया यार तुम हमारा फार्म।
तो क्या करना है? ईंट पत्थर उठाने?
Okay, so I'll start off with what very basically the plot is without trying to spoil much of it because a lot of movie happens in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I remember basically this movie was on Netflix, right? And around like 40 minutes in, I accidentally like press pause or something and I had to like go rewind backward. And I was like, wait, only 40 minutes have gone by? I could have sworn it was more. And not in a bad way. It was just, you've done so much movie, so much has happened without it feeling like, it's been going on forever.
it's like one of those movies where you're like, oh, how much more of this can I take? And not like you said in a bad way, but in a things are already bad for the characters right now. Narratively, how much worse can this get?
Exactly. So, like, speaking of that narrative, you very basically have these two friends, both in their early 20s, Chandan and Shoaib. I'm gonna leave it to you to talk about Chandan's full name and how that relates to his cast and how he describes his name throughout the full film. But basically, one of them is Muslim and the other of them is from a lower caste in India. They're both, I don't remember, does the film tell us where they are situated?
It's a random North Indian village, town, not North Indian.
Yeah, very small town. And basically, both of them live in relative poverty and are trying their best to raise their family up. Like, Shoaib wants the best, give his dad like the surgery and medical attention he needs. And Chandan is trying his best so that his family can have a proper cemented house. So, yeah, and basically, the whole film is their attempts at trying to make this happen.
And their way of doing that is by giving an exam that will allow them to become police officers or constables.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the film starts. They are going to give this exam that will make them police officers, that will get their families out of desolate situations. And yeah, that's about it. And I don't want to say anything more about the plot because it will just ruin it. But we can talk about
Yeah.
the film parts of it.
I think we can get into the plot. We can do spoilers because I think there's so much I want to really check in with regarding spoilers. But overall, immediately, like, first of all, I would just recommend this film. Like, recommend this film while also telling you it will break your heart.
100%. Like, already the premise is like unstable enough because you have these two young boys who are from minority communities or rather minoritized communities, Muslim man and a lower caste man, and coming to the kind of thing about their positions in society. Like the first 40 minutes, like you were saying, makes it very clear that they are in a world that is set up against them. Not just because they're in a
Yeah.
particular part of India or from a village or whatever. It's because of who they are in India right now as well that they are set up to just experience life's worst hardship.
Yeah, I think one of the best lines which Chandan says to summarize this, in my opinion, is when Shoaib goes like, "Why don't you fill in the like special category to help you gain an advantage?" And he's like, "Because if they know, even if I become a constable, they just might make me sweep the floors regardless." And that just hits because he's just so aware of like, regardless of what the government might try to do to like change that, break that system, it's so ingrained into people that it will define him regardless of how he wants to be defined.
Exactly. And this is the caste system we're talking about, just everyone kind of knows about it. And like an aspect of that, which is like, it's so resonant. I'm not from a lower or scheduled caste, they're called, but it is something that does hit you because you kind of go, why should a person have to not say their full name? Because Chandan's full name is Chandan Kumar. And in a casteist society like Hindu India, your last name immediately reveals what caste and what community you belong to. And that immediately, like you were saying, puts you in a certain category of work. So Chandan doesn't ever say what his last name is. He says his name is Chandan. And then people are like, Chandan, what? And then that's where everything begins.
Yeah. Wait, if I'm correct, isn't his last name actually something like Valmiki and he uses Kumar as a way to hide it? Or am I remembering that wrong?
Oh,
I think because like whenever he says Chandan Kumar, he's trying to hide his actual caste.
yeah, yeah. I don't particularly understand the whole surname system thing, but if I'll be talking to someone who is aware of it and I say what my last name is, they will automatically know what caste and community I belong
Okay.
to. Yeah. But yeah, so that is something that is really prominent in this film, with Shoaib as well. Shoaib doesn't even need, it's his name, Mohammed Shoaib Ali. People immediately know. And
Yes.
there's this moment where he's working as a peon in an office, and this one guy tells him, after asking him his name, yeah, don't fill my bottle. It's just, you should do your own work, right? And you're kind of like, oh, can I punch this guy? So the film does a really good job of like making the experiences of Chandan and Shoaib like the primary experiences that you have to empathize with, because everyone around them is being so shitty.
Yes. I think, okay, like fully getting into spoilers, right? I think it is just, firstly, the way it makes you feel. Like, it never does anything specifically, but this film really makes you feel shit that these people have to go through such basic life necessities in such hard manners while you're here on your couch watching Netflix. The idea of like someone not having a proper roof on their head is just so, I'll be honest, foreign to me. Like, while I can sympathize and try my best to understand, the idea that even just for that you will be shit on and people will not let you even work when you're trying your best to just earn hard money, like his Chandan's mom is, and like they don't let her cook for the children because of her, again, caste. It's just devastating for you to, it just really makes you remember again and again the privilege in which you exist.
Exactly. The film does a fantastic job about making you feel horrible. And like
Yeah.
in a way that, you kind of go, okay, I need to do something about this horrible feeling that I'm having. And
Yeah.
just like to go into the plot, basically a good half of the film is spent on Chandan and Shoaib's dream and their ambition. And well, spoiler,
Yes.
they don't get fulfilled. Both of them have to migrate to Surat, which is a city in the west of India, to work in a mill, like a textile mill. And that's
Yeah.
how they end up earning the money to send back home so that their families can get what they need. So in Shoaib's case, his father can get medical treatment. In Chandan's case, that his family can have a roof for their head. That's kind of how they do it. And just looking at where they live when they're in Surat, and when they talk about taking shifts for sleeping and whose bed like get repurposed
Yeah.
by someone else, it kind of gets you to step outside of your life for a second and think, just deeply, deeply think about what you had and what you have.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Like, I think that is this film's strongest word. This is, I think this is
It's
this film's
strength.
strongest feature.
Yeah.
Yes, strength. Thank you, thank you. This is this film's like strongest strength doesn't make sense.
No, just strength. Just strength.
Yes, I mean, okay. Anyways, what I'm saying is, I think this is the film's best thing, which is that it just really, really keeps you feeling for these characters, and in no point does it also devolve into like poverty porn, basically. In
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like Slumdog Millionaire, it doesn't feel like that because the characters never just take life sitting down; they always are trying to fight. So you're kind of trying to fight with them.
For sure. And there is no Western gaze in this. There is no
Yeah.
outsider like making life hard. It is their own people, their own countrymen, their own neighbors,
Yes.
their own society members who through these historic systems of oppression keep them in that position. And that is what they have to fight. They have to fight history and they have to fight systems of oppression that come from within. And I think a lot of this goes to the writing and the story itself. So I want to give credit where credit is due. This film is based off of an article written by Basharat Peer called A Friendship, a Pandemic, and a Death Beside the Highway. And the article is kind of readapted into a story by Basharat Peer, Neeraj Ghaywan, the director, and the writer Sumit Roy. And I think with a screenplay by Neeraj Ghaywan. So I think like the combination of these people have done a fantastic job because it's already existed as a piece of media, right? It's a story that is being told. It's based off of real life kind of events and stuff. But to turn it into a film that has such a deep emotional resonance, I think is like what the strong parts are.
100%. Like regarding the song, I do have criticism, right? Because of like my emotional reaction to this film, I feel bad having criticisms.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, but like I personally still feel like when Shoaib and Chandan reunite at the text ammo, that feels a bit like the film ending up at B without showing you how it goes from A to B. Like, I think I wanted to just see why Shoaib decided to go to the textile mill for some reason, or like go to Chandan immediately after that. Like, because they break up, because after Chandan gets the result for his constable test, like Chandan gets in, Shoaib doesn't. This causes a fracture in their friendship, which again, a great scene in how that breaks down. It's also like, okay, I'll come to this. Please remind me to get to like masculine friendships, how it specifically does masculine friendships. But I wanted to see how Shoaib gets back to Chandan, and also how COVID comes into it and how they're getting home and everything. It makes sense. I just feel at that point, the film feels like it's kind of left what the original arc was going to, or like it feels it was going for a very different place and then it ended at a very different place. It's not necessarily an issue for it to do so. I just felt a bit of a disconnect there. Like
100%.
I was hoping, it felt it was building to something else, and then just the COVID just completely wrecked it, which might have been the point of COVID. But also, like, narratively, I was kind of a bit left shortchanged from them.
It does feel like there are two distinct parts to the film that are connected solely through these characters. Which kind of brings me to Ishaan Khatter, who plays Shoaib, and Vishal Jethwa, who plays Chandan Kumar's acting. I think they both have done a brilliant job.
Fully, yes.
They sell you on their frustration. They sell you on their sometimes misguided ambition. They sell you on their friendship. And they kind of sell you on the hardship, but also the joys that they experience, which I think is just fantastic and remarkable. I will say though, again, with the acting and casting, I do have certain issues, like Janhvi Kapoor, who plays character Sudha.
Yes.
She could have just not been in the film. There was no need for this particular character. Again, it's a treatment of women as a kind of like a plot device.
Motivational plot device.
Right? Which
I see what you mean. I think you're not fully wrong. I think personally, Janhvi Kapoor does give the character life. And like, I felt the character was a person. Okay, that reaction is telling me fully no.
I don't agree. I think there are an infinite number of better choices. Just because I feel like Janhvi Kapoor's, like, she may have done the character like in the narrative or in the plot well. I just don't think the kind of emotional depth that is needed, perhaps, was there.
Maybe, okay. No, I think the writing, yes, I see what you mean. I do see what you mean. I did find it a good exploration of Chandan's character, but then again, it's exactly what you were saying, right? That she becomes a plot device. Yeah. She exists to make his character more fully fledged. He doesn't exist to give her character much depth.
Exactly. So I do feel like the character of Sudha was, they could have left it out. Don't think it would have made a difference, which is a criticism I have of a lot of films, because a lot of films do this, not just this film. But yeah, I do want to talk about the friendship though, because you were talking about masculine friendships.
Yes.
I mean, you
Yes.
have a very unique perspective on it, but I definitely think in the South Asian context, defining masculine friendships in this particular way as so wholesome and kind of like integral to their life is really, really important.
Yes. I think firstly, you already feel they're very much friends. Like they have really good chemistry together, very much from the start.
For sure.
You can see they get along, they share hardship, they share ambitions. It's such a shared journey that they're going through. I really liked the scene where they have a fight, right? By like this riverbank. Because it combines this idea of both of them do care, but because of just masculinity. And it also highlights like problematic parts of both of them are trying to
Be the
they can
man.
help each other out, but they don't they're both trying to be man, they're both refusing to like show that they're hurt in other ways. They're not saying what they need to say. Like Chandan needs to say, please can you not take this out on me, I do feel bad that you didn't get in. And what Shoaib needs to say, I feel shit that you got in, it's not on you, but I feel so bad because how are you not providing and I have to do this. But they don't say it. So it comes, masculinity clashes. And you see this resolution when Shoaib comes back to the textile mill and he cries. And the only thing that Chandan does is just hug him. Because that is what he needed. He just needed companionship. He just needed comfort. He was hurt and he needed someone to be there for him. And them just not understanding it and taking a lot of time. Again, this is one thing I'm really like. I think male friendships, the best of them represent to me is this idea of I will go through hell for you. I do not care. And that is like at the end, which is like incredibly sad, where Shoaib does literally every single thing in his power to get Chandan home, like do anything he can to like save him. And it's just devastating.
100%. I think the film makes a really good case for addressing masculine vulnerabilities and then doing something about it. Because once they overcome that hurdle of showing each other their vulnerabilities and actually talking about it and expressing their deepest, darkest fears and emotions or whatever, they are better friends for each other. Not to say that they weren't like the
Yes.
best of friends before, but there is a level that you are there for each other that gets like unlocked, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I think, again, alongside what we've said earlier about like what some of the best things of this film are, I think this exploration of male friendships through like not just a perfectly rosy lens, but through its hardships and difficulties as well, is I think near perfect. Like I've rarely seen some explorations of such friendships in South Asian cinema.
I think 30 minutes into this film, I was like, this is such a good, like, guys best friends kind of film that you watch it with your male friends and you just want to hug them afterwards and just show up affection. Also, like, generally I want to talk about, it shows masculinity as well in South Asia really well. They are being held to provide. It explores masculinity to Chandan's character and how Shoaib feels like he's not performing as man enough and providing for his family. How Chandan is just trying to earn respect because he feels like that was man should have. It shows how the ideals of masculinity and patriarchy fail them because of like other societal bigotedness of like with Shoaib's religion and like Chandan's caste. So it's a very indirect thing, but it's very much there if you like look for it at all, which is just how patriarchy is inbuilt into these characters and how they want to provide with the men. Like Chandan, as soon as he was like, no, I have to provide for my family, sends all of his salary there because like it's something I very much relate to, of this idea of like my family looks up to me and I can't fail them because at the end of the day, I'm the eldest child or I'm the big brother and I need to do this. And I think that's just so inbuilt into this narrative. While it doesn't question it in this, I think it also does question it, right? It plays with it, it explores it. It never like brings it into the forefront, but it's throughout the whole narrative.
100%. It's like the base that is never explained because you just assume it.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
It's a part of the character's lived in reality. And I think it's a lot of those things. I think it just highlights that fail system and how patriarchy in that fail system creates an even stronger like chokehold on this film and hurts them more. It hurts them at the end of the day.
100%, yeah. And I just kind of want to end on like the note of its production. So it's produced by Dharma Productions, which people don't
Yes.
know I have criticized heavily.
I did see that and immediately thought of that.
Yeah, which is why I was really skeptical about this film. And I'm like, I don't hold on to the skepticism about the film. I hold on to a skepticism about the making of the film. Because once again, it is talking about
Okay.
a Muslim character, a lower caste character, and it is based on like a real story or whatever. But this particular story in this film is being told from the highest level, right? From people who have probably participated in a lot of the kind of oppressions that are being talked about, right?
Fair.
And a lot of what we're seeing is this film is very political because,
Yeah.
right, it's not explicitly political, but it is political at its core because of the kind of conditions and the story or whatever. But it's I would say unwillingness. The unwillingness to name the issue as a political issue is where I think the kind of overlords of its production have a part to play. Again, this is like speculation, but like I said, it is
I see what
Dharma
you
production house. There has to have been a level of self-sanitization.
Fair. To play devil's advocate,
Yeah.
I also feel there could be a case made where people in these places don't consider things like that in those grand terms, and maybe that the film just also not explicitly calling out the politicalness speaks to that. But again, neither of us can really
Also,
say yes or no to either of them.
I would have just liked another lower caste person involved in the
Fair
writing or the making, or another. Like Bashrat Peer is Muslim. But like from a different position and stuff. But like again, a lot of times caste in India gets talked about by upper caste people. And that's the thing I have my primary issue with.
That point you made is very valid. Because behind the scenes there's no one who's really like
Exactly,
in that
and behind the
system.
scenes,
You kind of do
it's
then
the same.
feel like a self.
It's the same issue I had with Running Man, which is like with the criticism of product placement and then doing a product placement. Like you're talking about these experiences, the horrible experiences of lower caste people, and you're doing it really, really well. But behind the scenes, actual lower caste people who are working are doing the kinds of jobs that the people in this film are shown to be doing that you're criticizing. So like, I do want to kind of see, not
There's a
see, but
dissonance.
exactly, there is a certain dissonance that is there that, unfortunately we see throughout the film industry because of the kind of capitalist modes of production and government repression and censorship, etc.
The other essay that we're going to write.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, I think overall, though, I think we can both agree that while we have issues with this film, nothing can take away from the emotional impact and response you have to it, which makes it a fantastic film.
Yeah, and like to end on, this is India's submission into the Oscars, and like still pending, we'll see. But honestly, I can't lie, this is like one of the better films I've seen this year. Like if you ask me, this might just end me up in like my top 10 films I've seen this year.
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's a I gave it a 4 out of 5, and I don't do that very often. So like, it's on Netflix now. It did have a limited cinema run, but it is on Netflix now. So I would say if you have Netflix, please watch it. It's 2 hours of your life that you will spend crying, but in a good way.
In a good way. So yeah, those are our thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is produced solely by us with musical assets from Pixabay. If you enjoyed this, please do share it. See you again next time.
Bye-bye.